Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Namaste. Welcome to the Kanchi Kamakoti Dharma Moolam program. Today we are starting Ramayanam, how it is relevant in today's lifestyle and present life. I'll request Lalit to introduce to Pandit Garu and then hand over to the Kutumba Sastri.
कैवल्यदाय करुणारसकिङ्कराय कामाक्षिकन्दलितविभ्रमशङ्कराय आलोकनाय तव भक्तवशङ्कराय मातर्नमोऽस्तु परतन्त्रितशङ्कराय. Namaskaram everyone. It is my pleasure to introduce our Guru for the next couple of sessions and my Guru as well. Shri Vempati Kutumba Shastri Garu. So Guru Garu is the president of the International Sanskrit Studies. He was the vice chancellor of the Rashtriya Sanskrit Samsthan, New Delhi from 2003 to 2008. He is a renowned Vedic scholar, Rigvedic scholar. His areas of expertise include Advaita Vedanta, various darshanas, poetics, Kavya Shastra, Sanskrit literature, and spoken Sanskrit with Sanskrita Bharati. His publications include monographs, anthologies, and several research papers on Advaita Vedanta. He has authored 11 books, has published more than 30 papers in various reputed journals. He is the recipient of several prestigious awards from several state governments in India, as well as from the Windsor University in Canada for Sanskrit studies. Guru Garu has traveled widely to spread the message of the Vedas, Vedika Samskriti in countries like the US, England, and even more remote countries like Kazakhstan, Finland, Thailand, Scotland. He has participated in about 150 conferences, both national and international, chairing most of them and delivering several keynote addresses. He has delivered around 100 lectures in various universities and institutions. So we are very fortunate to have Guru Garu teaching us for the next couple of sessions. The topic is Ramayana, which is a treasure of knowledge. So let us all pay close attention to the coming lessons. Namaskaram, Guru Garu. Over to you.
Namaskaram, Kutumba Sastri Garu.
श्रीवेङ्कटाचलाधीशं श्रियाध्यासितवक्षसं श्रितचेतनमन्दारं श्रीनिवासमहं भजे। रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेधसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीतायाः पतये नमः। नमोऽस्तु रामाय सलक्ष्मणाय देव्यै च तस्यै जनकात्मजायै नमोऽस्तु रुद्रेन्द्रयमानिलेभ्यः नमोऽस्तु चन्द्रार्कमरुद्गणेभ्यः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। अपार करुणासिन्धुं ज्ञानदं शान्तरूपिणम् श्रीचन्द्रशेखराख्येन्द्रसरस्वतीं गुरुं भजे। शान्तं स्मितमुखं प्राज्ञं वत्सलं गुरुसेविनम् सिद्धकार्यं गुरुं वन्दे श्रीजयेन्द्रसरस्वतीम्। वेदवेदान्ततत्त्वज्ञं सदाचारप्रवर्तकं वावन्द्ये धर्मनिष्ठं श्री विजयेन्द्रसरस्वतीम्। Dear Sharma Garu, dear Lalit, and I do not know who are the participants, the unknown participants in large number. There, for youngers, there must be elders along with them. My greetings to all of you on this very pious eve of Janmashtami. We are just a few hours away from Sri Krishna's Avatara, and it is good fortune, great good fortune for all of us to discuss his predecessor from today onwards to the extent possible. Ramayana, as you know, is known to everyone in the whole of the world, in whatever may be the degree of his knowledge and information regarding Ramayana. Everyone is aware of the basic story of it. I hope the youngsters here in this group are also familiar with the story content in some form or other. They might have studied in various forms. Ramayana is available in various forms. It is given to us in various forms. Therefore, this program is designed to highlight the dharma in all the texts and all the books and all the topics, and also from a particular point of view that the dharma that is even relevant to in the given circumstances, in the present circumstances, what we can learn from it. This is the caption of our course, Ramayana, what we can learn from it. Therefore, it is not my job to deal with the story as such. Of course, without dealing with the story, I cannot further proceed also in making those points. But all that I want to submit is I may be jumping from episode to episode sometimes without proper introduction also. That may cause a little bit confusion in the young minds if they are not very familiar with the story. My humble request to the elders who are accompanying them to fill the gap after the lecture. Again, there is another difficulty issue with Ramayana. As all of you know, we are traveling back into a few millions of years, not 10 years, 20 years, 1 century, 2 centuries, 1 million and 2 millions of years. No, it is beyond it. We are traveling into a time and space of a few millions of years before. Ever since it is composed, it has attracted the greatest minds on the surface of earth. Greatest minds of not only critics, of not only writers, of not only the kings and the administrators, but also the shilpis, the dancers, various art forms. There is no art form, there is no Shilpakala, Murtikala, there is no performing arts, there are no folk arts where the Ramayana is not the content. Till today, you can imagine. Ever since it is given to us by Valmiki a few millions of years before, we will come to his date to the extent possible for us. To this day, including when Doordarshan has been started in India, the first serial and popular serial is only Ramayana. Once again, latest in 2000 or somewhere just before 2000 or something. And the Ramayana story is originated from Sri Ayodhya, where by great good fortune of Hindus and also Bharatiyas, we have just a few days back celebrated the foundation stone laying ceremony by Honorable PM Shri Narendra Bhai Modi ji, where thereon we will have a great mandir to worship Ram Lala there very soon. So Ayodhya being the center where Rama was born, where Ramayana was enacted, where Ramayana was first sung, from there it traveled the length and breadth and nook and corner of the whole of India. Whole of India, I tell you very confidently, that in a Telugu poem, which later on Lalit may make you listen to after my lecture is over, unfortunately, I cannot remember it. A poet has to understand it is by Baljepalli Lakshmi Narasimhangaru, who wrote the poem. He says that even if there are 10 hutments in a small hamlet of a village, mind it, even if it is a 10 hutments, not even structured houses, it is called Parnashala. Even if they are very limited in number, 10 or 12 or 20, in a hamlet, in a hamlet, to a village, it's not even village, a Rama Mandira will be a certainty in India. That is the greatness of Rama and Ramayana. Ramayana is the vehicle. Ramayana is the medium through which we understood the Rama. Rama is great. But how do we know Rama is great? It is on account of Valmiki's Ramayana. So both Rama is great and the Ramayana is great. And not only in India, it also traveled to several Southeast Asian countries. And in one sense to say, it is even till today, it is greatly in living tradition in those countries. Sometimes we feel, unfortunately, than Bharat. Than Bharat also we can say, because official ceremonies are celebrated on the basis of Ramayana in those countries, whereas unfortunately it is not the case in Bharat. Okay, we have got several programs, but we can't call them official on behalf of government. But whereas in Indonesia and Thailand and other places, Rama and Ramayana is celebrated with fully on the basis of in governmental functions and all that. Anyway, let us not, it's not our, it is not socio-historical approach of Ramayana and all that. I want to highlight how a person, okay, I do not know Rama, as all of us who have, none of us have witnessed him, but Valmiki gave the account of a kind of personality to the mankind, not to the Bharat or not to Bharat community of only Bharat. But Valmiki gave him, presented him a Maryada Purushottama, a character, not only one character, it's Rama, 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 we say as he is the hero and also main character, but I will come to during my course of lecture. Even the smallest character also leaves a significant role in the story structure of Ramayana. We call it story for the sake of convenience, but I am a fully believer of historicity of Ramayana. I will come to those details, but despite that being a historical document, it is also called Itihasa. It is not Purana. Srimad Ramayana is called Itihasa. Itihasa means nothing but a historical document. How much it is historical and how much something has been added by the poet is that let the intellectuals bother about those things. We believe as it is. I will make you even look into those slokas where all details will be slowly coming, because we have got several hours to speak on one subject. What I wanted to emphasize today as an introduction is this story, ever since it is given by Valmiki, has hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of adaptations, both in Indian vernaculars, outside in various foreign languages, and what not. I tell you, several art forms, sculpture forms, painting forms. These are all archaeological evidences we have. Therefore, such is the captivity of Rama's character, which has been the humanity was witnessing over the millions of years. Therefore, in our first lecture today, I wish to introduce the Ramayana and then some salient features of Valmiki Ramayana, and I am given by, as all of you have been distributed about the topics to be covered. There are the relations like filial relation, friendship, and relationship with the Samantarajas and friends, other kings and neighboring kings and all. All these are also some topics have been given. I have grouped them. Today I may deal with the Ramayana, most part of it only Ramayana, and the beginning story which is very interesting, which dispels several questions in our mind. You might have been aware of it, but in such courses, what happens is as we don't have any prior knowledge of your requirement, sometimes it becomes repetition, and sometimes something can be added. And in a subject called Ramayana, nothing new can be added. I want to be very frank admission in the beginning itself. It is very difficult to add anything new because a lot of information is already given. Only thing is, more and more we discuss about Ramayana, more and more there is no satiation as such. More and more we want to listen to. So in that way, in a kind of manana, let us proceed today. And I may deal with the relation between Dasharatha and Rama and all that, and also among the brothers Lakshmana, Bharata and others, and also the dharma of Sneha Dharma, the Maitri Dharmas with Sugriva and others, if time permits today. Then my approach will be always, I will not mostly narrate the episode, but what is the dharmic kamsha we can learn today also, which is relevant to today also. There are some absolute thoughts which do not have much relevance today, we can say, though the number of such items in the Ramayana are very less, because Ramayana, broadly speaking, in toto applicable even till today. There is nothing that is irrelevant for the present society in the Ramayana, which was written millions of years before. That is the greatness of sage Valmiki, and I don't think any such literary piece exists under the sun, in the surface of earth, anywhere in the world. But a few small little details may be obsolete from the point of view of today's society, but that is not the case with majority of the items. So let me quickly start, because without this is the general introduction for all my lectures I have given to you. And in question hour, of course, you are welcome to ask for any unclarified doubt whenever I jump too much. If you are not able to catch me, you can call me back, and I will, to the extent possible, help you there. Then, for a brief, I have collected, it is a there is a Ramayana Mahatmya in the Skanda Purana. Skanda Purana, Uttarakhanda, between Narada and Sanat Kumara, dialogue between Narada and Sanat Kumara, there are 5 adhyayas written exclusively to eulogize the greatness of Ramayana and the results of the Ramayana, Parayana, and all that. Most of the epics do have a Mahatmya also attached to it. For example, Devi Bhagavatam has been attached with Devi Mahatmyam. Like that, all Parayana Granthas do have a Mahatmya, which highlight and which showcase a few cases. Most of them will be in the form of case study. I mean, who are the persons who attained any real great benefits by way of doing Parayana, or studying the Ramayana, or understanding the Ramayana, and all that. Such stories are only usually told in that, because for your information I am telling you, in Skanda Purana, Uttarakhanda, Narada Sanat Kumara Sambada, there is a 5-story Ramayana Mahatmya, which is itself is a very large thing. I will not go into that. I picked up only 2 salient points from there. Repeatedly, Narada says there, even Rama and Rama Nama, both of them are equal to each other, equal powerful. As Rama is greatly powerful person, Rama Nama is also equally powerful to bestow all our desires, dispel all our sins, and make us attain even the moksha. Repeatedly he says, I only quote one thing, Rama Namaiva 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 Mama Jivanam Kalau Nastyeva 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 Gatiranyatha. He says in the Panchamadhyaya, towards the end of Mahatmya, that is, he also declares, Ramanama is my life. Ramanama is my Mama Jivanam, my life. And in Kali Yuga especially, Anyatha Gatir Nasti. There is no other go than doing Rama Nama Japa. Even Nama Japa to start with is sufficient and also great. Okay, nobody asks you to stop at Nama Japa only. You can always have you can always have liberty to progress further, but even with the Nama Japa alone also you will derive so many benefits. That is the emphasis of this particular Upadesha by Narada. Then one more point, very interesting for elders and for you people to understand. There are 3 months are prescribed in Urje, Maghe, Site, Pakshe, Chaitre, Dvijasattama. Sita Paksha in all the cases. Sita Paksha means the full moon fortnight, and 3 masas are prescribed to do Parayana, that is Urja Masa. Urja Masa means Kartika Masa, and Magha, and then Chaitra. Chaitra, Kartika and Magha. These three are held to be auspicious months for Ramayana Parayana. And I came across in the whole of Mahatmya several times, it is always prescribed to be completed in 9 days. 9 days and 8 nights. It should be completed. Navanna Parayana. There is no other specification given in the Mahatmya. These 2 points I want to highlight for the sake of our what you call a ritualistic understanding of what Ramayana. There is a Ramayana Parayana Grantha. Ramayana is Parayana Grantha and Srimad Bhagavata is Parayana Grantha, whereas Mahabharata is not the Parayana Grantha. Among our Dharma Granthas also, some of them are ritualistically with all auspicious and observations, with niyama and with all rituals, we do Parayana of. There is from time immemorial in India it is going on, and everywhere also it is going on. Then date of Ramayana, Sri Rama's birth has been given from some source. I am not an authority on history. Don't ask me questions regarding. I only keep you informed, that's all. Somebody has given a specific date. Maybe he might have worked out it well. 4th December 7323 BCE. That is around 10,000 years from our age. It is 4th December, Sri Rama's birth. I am afraid how December could come there. Because Chaitra we hold, Chaitra usually comes in March and April. Maybe in those far off times, it's not very surprising. That's why I said that I am not the expert to comment, but it is given. I am giving you this information. I'm passing the information. It is not. It is collected by me. Marriage is on 7th April, same 7307 BCE. And exile is on 29th November 7306, I think it's. And the date of Ramayana is given by some people 7th century BCE to 5th century CA. You see how Indologists make us fools. From the century, I am quoting it. It is only quoted from Google or somewhere. A Western Indologist and Indian, they don't have anything. They want only to distort the whole thing and also to confuse us. But young minds should note points, and then at least young people should start doing good research and give replies to all these nonsensical these things. Nobody knows exact history as such. We have to believe in our books and in our tradition. That is the surest way of, and that is the truth. Only why I give you the caution here, why they have precariously put it on 7th century BCE, the date which is just after Homer's Iliad 733 BCE. So the kind of Indologists, they don't go beyond Ramayana be before Homer and before Iliad. This is the mindset. You can read it in between the lines. Otherwise, there won't be any. And then, of course, they build up the theory with all their intellectual prowess. But intellectual prowess is also can be shown by somebody else also. In any way, what we believe is anywhere less than, there is no question of writing of Ramayana has happened, at least saying is 3 millions of years common era. That is that is 30 centuries. 3000 BCE. Prior to 3000 BCE is the day held by usually Indian Indologists. Anyway, it's not our big affair and we don't want to go there. And Rani Sadasiva Murthy has given you a date, mind-boggling date of 1,86,000, no, 1 crore 86 lakhs years or something on the basis of Treta Yuga of 24 Manvantara. Now the great brains who are listening to this may draw their own conclusion. I am not dealing with it. It's not my cup of tea. Author of Ramayana, Valmiki, and about his contemporaneity with Sri Rama. He is also I want to deal it a little elaborate way. The reason is, regarding Valmiki also, there are so many stories floating in the world. Some people say, popular story is there that he was only a Vyadha, a hunter, and then he was hunting the animals and all that and committing all sorts of sins. One day, across a Maharshi who happened to feel pity for him with a view to elevate him in this life. He has asked him to say Mara, 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 Mara in a topsy-turvy way, reversing the order. Mara, he made an Upadesha to him and asked him to continuously recite Mara, Mara. And then during such recitation, automatically it has become Rama, Rama, Rama. And on account of faithful repetition of Ramanama for several crores of times, of course, he was honest and faithful and dedicated to the Rishi. That is the greatness of that particular hunter, despite all his minus points. As I told you in the Ramayana Mahatmya, as attested by Sri Narada himself, that Nama will give you every benefit. He has turned to be a Rishi. And then he wrote Ramayana. This is one story that is going on. And also some communities in India presently are claiming that Valmiki is their originator of their community. And they are there in the forests of some Haryana and other places. They are called Valmikis nowadays. Valmiki community is there. Several stories are floating in the air. So I want to clear the young minds with what Valmiki left us in the Ramayana. According to Ramayana, tapaswadhya svi vagvidambaram naradam paripapracha Valmikir Munipungavam. Now, this is the first sloka of the great epic. Tapaswadhyayiniratam tapasvi vagvidambaram Naradam Paripapracha Valmikir Munipungavam. And here, Tapaswadhyayiniratam Tapasvi Vagvidambaram. Valmiki is also a Tapasvi. No story before his becoming Tapasvi has been given to us. Sloka, I want to highlight that fact. And then, Etadicham Shrotum Param Kautuhalam Hime Maharshetvam Samarthosi Jnatum Evam Vidham Naram. And Narada also replies, he asks the Narada, he narrated Konvasmin Sampratam Loke and all that several qualities, and asked at the end Narada, do you find any human being possessing all these qualities narrated by me? They are around 20, 24 or something. And all these, I think 16 qualities have been narrated by Valmiki too. And he asked, Kon Vasmin Sampratam Loke Gunavan Kascha Vidyavan Dharmajnascha Kritajnascha Satyavakyo Dridhavrataha Charitriyana Chako Yuktaha Sarvabhuteshu Ko Hitaha. Something, it goes on like that. Who is it? Who is it? Who is it? Very interesting chapter. You must all study. I advise you to catch hold of Ramayana Grantha, should be there in every household. In any house, if there is no Ramayana, it is not a Hindu house. For all Sanatana Dharma houses, whether you study it or not, whether you do Parayana or not, your library should have Valmiki Ramayana. And I believe it is the case with all of you. If by chance of transfer or coming and going, it is not there, today you finish and you acquire one and get it, put it in your, at least in Almara. Okay, if you open it and also go through, it is good. That is the next step. Then I also advise you, I was really appreciative of the great service done by Gita Press. There is one Gita Press Ramayana with English translation. I do not know. I want to know who translated actually into English. Such a wonderful English translation is unimaginable. You will really enjoy it. You kindly acquire it. Gita Press publication is easily available for small amount of money. Kindly get it and have the English translation also. That translation is very faithful and very flowery English and very expressive English. Then Narada then says, oh, you asked me a long list of great qualities which are really difficult to find in one place. But still I will try. Mune vakshyamyaham buddhva tair yukta shruyatam naraha. I will also contemplate for a while and look for a person of this eminence and tell you. And then he also in his reply says, Naraha. Why I am pointing that out is, it is needed for my lecture, because we in our lectures and even in Valmiki in the Ramayana, pictured and delineated the character of out as only a human person. If he is a divine person, there is no question of our emulating his qualities, because divine quality away from us. But he is only an ordinary man. I will show you some places he is at par with us. In due course, sometimes we may touch those passages where we feel in the similar situation, we also react in the same way. Such being a person has attained the divinity. Manushat Daipyam Upaimi, Yajurveda Samhita. That is, let me proceed, let me progress from Manushyatva to the divinity. Manushat Daivyam Upaimi. Manushat from humanness, let me progress towards divinity and attain divinity. This is the prayer we do in our, according to our Yajurveda, one of the Yajurveda mantras. Then he goes, Ikshvaku Vamsha Prabhavo Ramo Nama Janai Shrutaha. Even during those times he was familiar. And now, you see the fun of it. Valmiki has asked for a group of 16 qualities in one person, and Narada has expressed his no, how can it be? These qualities are really durlabha. And then what he should say immediately something. And he added nearly 67 qualities to the list. Because Narada could not contain himself when he remembered Rama. Rama's all qualities appeared before him. In fact, there is no, Rama's qualities are uncountable, innumerable. Still, Narada was, after a long 67 qualities, mention of 67 qualities, he has got some kind of satiation, some kind of tiredness maybe. We did not see the situation. He might have been tired at that time. So you can imagine Rama, what are the qualities of Rama? It is from two great souls. These many qualities have been mentioned. And one of the specific, Valmiki never mentions physical description in his 16. Maybe he has not seen him, but that is also a problem. But Narada describes him, physical description is also there. That is one specific difference between those qualities of those two sets of qualities. Then Narada Siddhava, then Pujayamasa Dharmatma Sahasishyo Mahamunim Yathavat Pujitasthena Devarashir Naradastha Apracheva Manujnataha Sajagama Vihayasam. Then he went into this one. Then later on, for a bath, the Valmiki has gone to Tamasa river, running through forest regions from his ashrama. While proceeding to Tamasa, he saw a very a gloomy scene. That is actually, it is not gloomy. It is very wonderful scene that two Krauncha Pakshis are in love play in a ekanta, in a forest place. They are free there. They are freely enjoying their life. And from an arrow has come and killed the male bird among the two birds. Then the female bird was crying and crying and crying for its companion. And this scene has been witnessed by Valmiki Maharshi by an accident. Just he was going for a snana, pratah kala snana in the Tamasa river. Then without his involvement of his mental faculties, a poem has come spontaneously without his involving his agency in uttering that sloka. There is no agency of Valmiki in uttering this particular first sloka. It came upon itself. Sometimes it comes. That is the outpouring of the poetry sometimes takes place. It is that's why it has become Arsha. More or less, it is equal to a Veda Vachana. That is, Manishada Pratishtham Tvamagamas Shashwati Samaha Yat Krauncha Mithunadekam Avadhi Kama Mohitam. Then it's not very lucid sloka in its meaning. The meaning has got some twists and turns into that. So, but it came as such. He never composed it. Then, but this scene after leaving, then he went to, then he said, he described the sloka, Padabadhaha Aksharasamaha, Tantri Laya Samanvitaha. Padabadhaha. It is in 4 padas. In Sanskrit meters, every meter has got 4 padas. Pada means actually 1/4. Because an animal has got 4 padas, on account of that, it is 1/4 is called always pada. Therefore, 4 padas, and then Akshara Samaha. In all 4 padas, only 8 letters. That is 16 lines, 16 letters in first half and 16 letters in the second half. Altogether 32 letters. Tantri Laya Samanvitaha, that is on musical aspect of it. It is very feasible to sing also. That's why we will see that Lavakusha have started it singing because it is Patye Geye Cha Madhuram. We will come to that slowly. So it is suitable for instrumental as well as vocal singing. And shokartasya pravritto me shloko bhavatu nanyatha. This is a historical sentence based on which Anandavardhana and other people, an entire Rasa Siddhanta has been developed in Sanskrit poetics. That is, Shoka Shlokatvam We put it in a simple equation. That is, Shokaha Shlokatvam The innate ill feeling and the dukkha of the Maharshi has come out in the form of a shloka. Why I am mentioning this very specifically is, this is the first origination of Anushtup Chandas in the Laukika Vangmaya. Anushtup Chandas is there in the Veda, and its prescriptions and its description is different there. Here in Loka, Chaturmukho Mahat, then, but the story, that episode was bothering him too much. He didn't have a rest in his mind. He was feeling totally unrest even after taking good bath in Tamasa and after returning the ashrama, doing after Anhikas and all that, he was not able to find solace from the episode, because we do not know what kind of incidents and episode will hurt us or when make us pleasurable. It is all depends upon it is the great time. Time is responsible for that. For some reason or other, he being a great Maharshi, composed as he is, and Samadhamadi Guna Sampatti is very much there. He attained a status of tapas wherein he could converse with Narada. It's not a small, mean job. It is a great achievement. Despite his endowments, he was not able to feel solace in his mind, and then he sat in contemplating on that in a dhyana position. And you see the greatness of Ramayana. Then Chaturmukho Mahatejaha Drashtum Tam Munipungavam Ajagama Tato Brahma Lokakarta Swayam Prabhu. Brahma himself has descended to come and solace give Ashwasana to Valmiki Maharshi. So therefore, the other stories regarding Valmiki, you know how to deal with them. That's why I am elaborating here. Papatmana Chaturmukho Mahatejaha Drashtum Tam Munipungavam Tadgateniva Manasa Valmiki Dhyanamashrita Papatmana Krutam Kastam Vairagrahana Buddhina. The sloka which uttered by Valmiki is in the form of a shapa to the nishada, shapa to the hunter, shapa curse. It is in the form of a curse to the hunter. Then this is also another component for Valmiki's deeper contemplation and feeling bad. The reason is a tapasi, a maharshi should never curse any person. You see, that depends upon that you have a tapasi should contain his kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada and matsarya. And then if you have given a curse means that you have got angry with him. Being angry towards a person, however good or bad he may be, it is none of your job to become krodha. By doing krodha, your tapas will be reduced. This is our dharma moolam. This point we have to note it. We should never, even though we may feel anger inside, we should not be overpowered by our anger. Every moment you get overpowered by anger, you are losing your character, your punya, your tapasya. Then he made a vairagrahana. He made a vaira feel, a shatrubhavana in the nishada, which I should have not committed, is one meaning of it. And then with regard to hunter also, there is another meaning of the same sloka. He is a hunter, is also a papatma, and he is only, he kills innocent animals for his own sake of food and all that. Yat tadrusam charuravam krauncham hanyad akarana. Without an enmity, throughout Ramayana, this factor continues. This is a bija which develops into great story into Ramayana. It's a beauty of this sentence. You must note it. Charuravam krauncham tat tadrusam charuravam krauncham hanyat akaranat. Yat tadrusam charuravam krauncham hanyad akaranat. Without any cause for anger, without, you see, the important part of this sloka is hanyat akaranat. Without proper and valid reason, you should not kill anybody. Why I am emphasizing here, twice I told you here is, in the Aranyakanda, Sita gives a great Upadesha to Sri Rama. So, masterpiece of literature. Sita Mata gives an advice to Sri Ramachandra. Why are you unnecessarily going to kill the Rakshasas. Her question in quintessence is, what harm they did to you? If you have not been harmed, then why do you feel angry about them and why do you think about killing them? This is akarana vaira. Vairam ahetukam. Why, without proper valid reason, you should not have Shatrubhava. If you do that, you will be incurring Papa on account of that. So she advises Ramachandra not to go for Janasthana, the Kharadi Vadha and Ravana Vadha and all that. And at the end, of course, she says, Smarayetvam na sikshaye. I am not teaching you, I am making you remember what you already know. In all her humility, she says that. And to some extent, it appears though this is Dharma Mula. Very difficult to, you see, Dharma is a very slippery ground. What is Dharma, what is Adharma is very difficult to decide. And our little brains can never do such exercise, can never be successful in it. Only one, I tell you only one sutra, the whatever Rama did is a Dharma. That's all. We need not enter into any discussion with anybody, not amongst us or with others also. We say repeatedly, Rama did, it is Dharma for me, finish. There ends the story. That should be our primary and first stand and bold stand, because Rama cannot commit adharma. Ramo vigrahavan dharma. Understand all those, how apparently adharma becomes dharma is a problem. This just one life is not sufficient for great souls. What about you and me? Great souls also have did lot of exercise, were unable to catch it. Apparently for Sita also it appeared that Rama is committing a mistake of going after the Rakshasas on account of Rishi's request, because he has not been personally harmed by them. Of course, Rama replies her, no, I have already given a word to Rishis and I cannot go back on my word. Whatever I can do, I can even leave you. And I will be coming, I think that sloka will come automatically in the course of lectures. I can even abandon you. I can abandon Lakshmana. And I can even leave my own prana, jivita. But I cannot go back on my word. That is Rama's pratigya. He has already given a word to Rishis that he will cleanse the Janasthana. So don't stop me. It's not the question whether they harmed me personally or not. They are harming the society. A larger cause is there. Sita has seen it in a that why should we bother as long as we are not harmed by them? But that is not a case. Rama is a Kshatriya Kumara and Rama is a king. And even at that point of one thing I will tell you right now, in all several problems of Ramayana will be can be resolved if we feel after Paduka Pattabhisheka, take it from me, Rama is the king of Ayodhya, Bharata is only his what you call emissary, or Bharata is only his sevaka, Bharata is only his deputy to look after the kingdom on behalf of Rama. Rama is not king when he was in Vanavasa. That lands us in great troubles. No, he is the Ayodhyadipati ever since Paduka Pattabhisheka has been done. But on account of his word to do Vanavasa for 14 years, he did not return, that's all. If we keep this in our mind, we can understand the Janasthana Vadha is right, because they are harming the society. They are harming the innocent people on account of their baladarpa, on account of their valor, on account of their rajoguna, tamoguna. They are causing irreparable society to the equilibrium of social life. Anyone who disturbs the equilibrium of the social life is to be punished. That's why Bhagavan also takes so many avatars to put it in the balance. Otherwise, we consider, we see several good qualities in all the Rakshasas also. Every Rakshasa is not that he is totally wrong or anything. But despite his good qualities, despite his abilities, despite his humanness, they are causing knowingly the some irreparable damage to the social equilibrium. Everywhere you apply this measure rod, everything will be understood. What is the mistake with Ravana? Nothing. Ravana is a great soul. But still, his presence is a disturbance to the equilibrium of the social texture. Therefore, he has to be eliminated. That's all. Hiranyakashipu, everybody is like that. Yat tadrisam charu, okay. Then Brahma Pragasan Muni. Then Brahma gives him solace, saying that no, you have constructed a beautiful metrical poem, maybe unknowingly, and you have not constructed it on your own. It is an account of my Ashirvada to you, my Sankalpa to you, that you have composed it. It is my Sankalpa, Machanda Devate, Brahman Pravutteyam Saraswati. He says Brahman Sambodhana is Brahman, so he cannot be from any other caste. And Machanda Devate Brahman Pravutteyam Saraswati. This Saraswati, Tapaswadhyaya Manishada Pratishtam Tumagamasaswati Samaha, this shloka form of Saraswati has come from your mouth on account of my wish and my sankalpa and my involvement. Then he says, Ramasya Charitam Kritshanam Kurutvam Rishisattama. Why I blessed you with this ability? You should compose Rama's story. So the Ramayana has got in its origin great episode in the back of it, and which is very interesting. Therefore, it is equal to Veda actually. That's why we say Veda Prache Tasadasit Sakshad Ramayanatmana. There is a Purvardha is there. That is when Vishnu has taken the Ramavatara, the Veda has taken the form of Ramayana through Valmiki. Prachetaha is also another name for Prachetasa is also another name for Valmiki. He belongs to Pracheta Gotra or something. Then Brahma also blesses him. In the next slide we see Yattacha Praviditam. He blessed him. You will know everything in and out of Rama's character, and which is not knowable by any person. That also you can see. That means the Rama's innate nature, which is beyond the apprehension sometimes even for Sita Mata, can also be apprehended by you. Such a vara, such a boon has been given by Brahma to Valmiki to make it. Therefore, in the Ramayana, every single letter is authoritative. You can let Indologists bother whatever they are. This is our position. Natevag Anruta Kavye Kachidatra Bhavishyati. None of your statements will turn to be a false. If you said any statement, even if the story has not happened it will turn to happen it. That's all. Because Brahma has given the boon to Valmiki, whatever comes from the mouth of Valmiki is only truth and truth and truth alone. Natevag Anruta Kavye. In the whole of Kavya, there won't be any single letter which is Anruta. And then he says, Ramayana Katham Punyam Shlokabaddham Manorama. Beautiful, flowery Ramayana, you compose it, and then he blesses. Yavat sthasyanti gira yassaritascha mahitale thavad Ramayana Katha lokeshu pracharishyati. As long as mountains are present in the universe, and as long as rivers flow in the universe, the Ramayana story will be alive forever. This is the boon and this is the Ashirvada given by Brahma. Then he Antardhana, then he Valmiki sat on Darbha Asana, and then because Brahma himself has asked him to compose, he made up his mind and everything came to his mind. That's why Valmiki is the contemporary of Rama. Then up to Pattabhisheka story has already happened when this incidents of Kraunchavadha and Brahma appearing to Valmiki and asking him to do Ramayana composition. Pattabhisheka has already been taken. It has been over. In fact, I feel even Sita Vivasana is also done or yet to be done, something. But then afterwards there is a long Uttarakanda Kushalava Janma, and then Ashwamedha Yaga, and then again meeting, rejoining the family. This whole Uttarakanda story is not yet happened. So Ramayana, two parts. Up to Pattabhisheka story is the past story of Rama, and from Pattabhisheka onwards, from beginning with Sita Vivasana, the other story has happened after Ramayana is composed by Valmiki. Kindly note it, very, very interesting point. Anagatancha yatkinchit Ramasya Vasudhatale. Ramasya story, Anagata, that is futuristic story also, whatever has happened in future also, Tacha Akarod Uttare Kavye. In Uttarakanda, Valmiki has described it in a futuristic vision. With a futuristic vision, the vision has been given by Brahma because he has become Sarvajna as far as Rama's story is concerned. These are the very important factors we should keep in our mind ever fresh. Then he wrote Chaturvimshat Sahasrani Slokana Muktavan Rishi. The number is given in the Ramayana itself. It is 24,000 slokas, and Tatha Sarga Satan Pancha, 500 sargas, and Shat Kandas, 6 Kandas plus Uttarakanda, that is 7 Kandas. Then he thought how to put it in the vogue, how to make it popularized, how to go about to this. Then when he thought of that, the Kushilavas have come and they touched his feet. Yeah, by the time he composed it, Sita Mata has given Chintayamasa Konvetat Prayunjiyaditi Prabhu. Thinking, Kushalava came and touched his charana. Every day they come because he is their guru, and they wanted to have his Ashirvada. Then after seeing them, then Valmiki thought these two are appropriate to be taught the entire past Ramayana, which has already been composed in the musical form of it. Vedopa Brahmanarthaya. Vedanarthaya. To why the Ramayana is to further complement the Veda. Veda Rahasyas, if there are any Rahasyas and Sukshma Amshas, very subtle items and subtle ideas which are not clear themselves in the Vedas, are to be clarified by Ramayana, like Itihasas and Puranas. All Puranas are only Brahmana. Brahmana means make it greater. That is, in one sense, explanation and complementation. That's why we say Veda Vedye Pare Pumsi Jate Dasharathatmaje Veda Prache Tasadasit Sakshat Ramayanatmana. Then let us go to next. Then in this discussion, we come across a shloka where we find three names by which Ramayana is known. Kavyam Ramayanam Krutsanam Sitayas Charitam Mahat Paulastya Vadhamityevam Chakara Charitavrataha. Three names are given by Valmiki himself. So we are at liberty to call whatever. Some people may like to call it Ramayana, and some people may call it Sitayana or Sitayas Charitam, and some people may even call it Paulastya Vadha. All three names are given by Valmiki in this shloka. Then one interesting point I will tell you in this introduction, that he taught the Kushalava, and they came to Ayodhya and started singing in Ayodhya, and the word went to Rama's darbar, and Rama himself has invited them to sing before him, and then Rama himself says the following shloka, in which two important points to be noted, that he attests his own story and the greatness of his own story. It is from the mouth of Rama. So it is very important. Imau muni parthiva lakshananvitau kusilavau chaiva mahatapasvino. In the Darbar hall of Ayodhya, Rama was sitting in his Simhasana, and then these boys have been brought there to sing the Ramayana, and Bhagavan Sri Rama is introducing the Kushalavas, the artists of the singers artists, to the audience consisting ministers and all three Maharanis, and also several great people of Ayodhya, that he says himself, Imau Muni, these two boys apparently in the form of Muni Vesha, Parthiva Lakshananvitau, the Ramas, I was able to catch the Kshatriya blood in them. They have got the semblances of Kshatriya or Parthiva Lakshana. Raja Lakshanas are also seen in their faces, because they are none other than his own sons, though he doesn't know it. Kusilavau chaiva mahatapasvinau. And then they are also, Kusilava means, see, Kusilava is different and Kushalava is different. Kushalavau is their name. Kusha and Lava are the names of those two boys. Kusilava means any actor, any performing artist is called Kushilava. So it is two performing artists are here, therefore it is in dual. That is Kushilavau, that is these two performing artists. Apparently Mahatapasvino, because they made lot of penance by this tender age. It reflects in their face. Mamapi tad bhutikaram prachakshate mahanubhavam charitam. Mama charitam prachakshate. They tell my story. And he adds two adjectives to his story. One is bhutikaram. All sorts of my story, when heard or recited, will get all the Ashtaishwaryas for the person who recites or who listens to it. This is told by not Valmiki, but by Bhagavan Sri Ramachandra. Mama picha, there is a mama word is there. You can note it. Mama pitat bhutikaram. Bhuti means Aishwaryam. All sorts of Aishwaryas will be bestowed on who. It is its nature. Ramayana is a bhuti giver, Aishwarya giver. And second adjective he says, Mahanubhavam. Mahan anubhavaha, mahaprabhavaha vartate. Mahanubhava charitam vartate. Tasya anubhava mahaprabhavavan bhavati. Ramayanasya prabhavaha natu samanyaha. Smaranamatreena sarvani papani apanodayat. Mahanubhavam charitam nibodhata. Then all of you, nibodhata means kindly listen to these boys. They recite my story, which is a story of Aishwarya, a story that gives all sorts of Aishwarya to the listeners, and also a story which is extraordinarily great, superly great. No other story can be greater than that. Rama vachah prachoditau agayatam. Asked by Rama, they started singing and they adopted some Marga Vidhana Sampada, some musical specification. Marga and Desi, and these are all the classifications of music. They adopted Marga music and then they composed it and also recited it. Sachapi Ramaha Parishadgataha. He also sat all through. And he didn't, being Chakravarti, he has got several duties to perform. He didn't go away. He was all through sitting there. And Bubhushaya Asaktamana Babhuva. He wants to continuously sit there when singing was being performed. This is a very interesting. Most of Sanskrit poets do not reveal the name of themselves, including Kalidasa. It is our tradition. But fortunately, in the case of Ramayana, Valmiki gave full introduction of himself and also full introduction of his Kavya, and also through this sloka, which one we have already studied, we come to know that it is the contemporaneity of Valmiki to Sri Ramachandra. So Valmiki and Ramachandra's age is one. Ramayana is composed during Rama's life, after in the middle of Rama's life. Okay, because we have got evidences in the Ramayana given to us. These facts I want to highlight. Then it is Adikavya. Adikavya means it is a trend-setter kavya. Genre we call it. Genre. It is the first, it's a genre. And then the long parampara is in Sanskrit, not only in Sanskrit, in all Indian languages, not only all Indian languages, everywhere in the world. I also tell you one more fact, that simply as Rigveda is the first literary work available to the humanity, not Indians, not Bharatiyas, not Asians, not Europeans. It is for the humanity, because there is no older text dated earlier than Rigveda is available according to all persons, according to East and Western scholars. Therefore, as Rigveda is the first book of the literary piece of the world, literature of the world, similarly, Ramayana is the oldest poetry of the humanity, not Bharatiyas, because we have enough grounds, enough arguments, which I will not deal with them, and to prove that it is much earlier to Homer, Iliad and all that, and to our best knowledge today, it is the oldest literary work, poem is only Iliad, written by Homer, and Ramayana is much earlier than Homer. Therefore, first poetical piece of the world, humanity, is Ramayana. Then, how it is Adikavya, it send. See, I tell you, in Sanskrit, among the all world literature, Sanskrit has got very large amount of poetics, that is the science of literary criticism. Hundreds and hundreds of books are written from starting from Bharata to Jagannatha. A long line of writers are there, and they have prescribed so many rules, not to do this, do not do this, and do's and don'ts. That is the job of the Alankara Shastra Granthas. And where from the rules came? You see, rules do not come before. You see, even in the case of grammar, language is first, grammar is next. After language comes into the vogue, then a person of brilliance will start doing some grammatical formulations. Similarly, when there is a Lakshya Grantha, that is when there is a literary work available, then only specifications can be drawn on the basis of that work and prescribed for future writers. This is the case everywhere. Therefore, Ramayana stood the only example, piece of example for all of them to see the prescribe the formulations of literary criticism. Therefore, I don't want to go into, it's a very vast field. I don't want to enter into that. I will tell you only one thing as an example. You see, Bharata Natya Shastra, which is ascribed to be 4th century BCE, prescribed one rule that in the plot construction, we have a great plot construction science in India, that is Mukha Pratimukha Garbhavamarsa Nirvahanakhya Sandhis, Pancha Sandhis they call it. It's a very great scientific way of elaborating and developing the structure as such, which should be known to all bright young minds and future writers and future composers. It's very much needed. Great scientific way of developing the plot is available in Bharat from BCE period, that is from 2500 years parampara. Bharata has first prescribed it. And in that, Bharata prescribes a rule that in the Nirvahana Sandhi, Adbhuta Rasa should be introduced. And then later on, you see in Shakuntala, in Nirvahana Sandhi, Matali comes from Swarga, and Vidushaka episode is there, breaking of his neck and all that. And then immediately Matali takes Dushyanta also to Indraloka, and all this is introduced in a very popular drama in Sanskrit, which is related to a king and a queen. You know why? It is the 6th and 7th act. Adbhuta Rasa should be introduced. This is Bharata's prescription. And where from Bharata got the idea of prescribing it? There should be an example beforehand. That's why the Sundara and Yuddhakanda is full of Adbhuta in the Ramayana. Ever since Hanuman comes on the stage, the Adbhuta Rasa comes into the Ramayana story. Till then, there is no Adbhuta at all. Kshatra, Parakrama, Shaurya and Virya only. It is only with the Hanuman everything comes. Beautiful turn of events after you can see from Sundara and Yuddhakanda. Seeing Ramayana, the prescribers of rules have made a module. So it stood as an example for 3000 years. And you know how much of literature, Sanskrit literature developed later on? You cannot count it. Thousands and thousands of literary works have been composed following these rules, and the source is Ramayana. That's why we call it Adikavya. It is also Itihasa, because somebody might have already all episodes of Ramayana have got archaeological evidences, epigraphical evidences. The story is related to 3 nations today. At one time, they may be Bharat, but at this time, the story relates with 3 nations. One is Bharat, the other is Nepal, because Janakpuri, Sita's birthplace is there. Mithila is in Nepal. She was born and brought up in Nepal and those days of Mithila, and Bharat, and most of the part of Ravana's story in the Lanka. And all the 3 nations, the people have got, the places are there, named after them, living traditions are there, living observations are there. You cannot even with one stroke of order deny them, cannot shake them, because they have perpetuated into their blood. A commoner, a person knows. In India, there are abundant places of Ramas. Recently, our Honorable Prime Minister has made a Ramayana circuit also. And then he has got several plans to link all Ramayana sites, what we call Ramayana sites, as Buddha sites they call. Wherever Buddha is associated, they call Buddhist sites. Similarly, Ramayana sites are abundantly available. Ayodhya is there. Sarayu Mata is still flowing. And what else you want? Therefore, we believe totally the historicity. Okay, some parts of some embellishments may be by way of story. And then Rama Setu is also found. People say, I am not aware, that what you call from satellite pictures, a link between Dhanushkoti and Sri Lanka is seen beneath the water. And that is what is called, what is held to be a Ram Setu. And then exemplary portrayal of Dharma. See, I never mentioned in my slide Rama and Sita, because if we enter into them, we can't come out. Dasharatha, Kausalya, even Kaikeyi, Lakshmana, Bharata, Sugriva, Hanuman, Vibhishana, all of them are Dharma Murtis. You see, I want to, my point here to emphasize is, it is only not Rama and Sita who stood as exemplars of Dharma, but every small and medium character of Ramayana is exemplar of Dharma. See, for example, Dasharatha. He stood for Satyavachana. He never crossed, he rather, I am jumping now, I am going away from I can't to elaborate. Once we elaborate, there is no end to Ramayana. So, let me quickly pass through. Ultimately, what happened? He preferred to die than to go back on his words. Yes, he pleaded with Kaikeyi to withdraw her boons and all that, but never denied her from the beginning to the end. He pleaded in between when she was not reconciling. He left it. And he left it and he paid big price for that. He paid big price of leaving his life. He told clearly. Incidentally, we may read those slokas if time permits. So it is only Satya Vachana for the sake of Satya. And Rama also went to forest. Despite everybody stopping him, and despite he having got valid reasons, if you and me are on the spot, we could have done the other way. But it is Rama. That's why he went to forest only to see that on any account, under any pressure, if he doesn't go, or return from Chitrakuta when Bharata went there and pleaded to return, if he returns, his only concern is, even though father is not alive, even though father is dead, death and life is only to the body. It's not for the soul. Father is there. Father's word should not be an anruta, a lie. He doesn't want to make his father a liar, even after his death. This is the last Brahmastra he uses with Bharata and convinces him that I cannot return before the end of 14 years. Okay, one day I will not lose after 14 years. On the same day of completion of 14th year, I will be in Ayodhya. This is the promise he has given. Therefore, what we should do is, Dasharatha is no mean character. And even Kaikeyi, Valmiki uses the word Kama Mohita, and several people have used it. Lakshmana was bitterly criticizing him. Yes, if I am right, Rama also says, somewhere in the, in a very, we will come across that passage, I believe, but my understanding is different. His marrying Kaikeyi is not on account of Kama. As all of us are aware, with Kausalya he did. With Sumitra he doesn't have progeny. Kings are allowed to have n number of wives, and therefore, and the second thing is, they are allowed to marry more than one wife, and secondly, it is highest dharma for a Chakravarti to have his successor in place before he dies. That's why we got several stories that Putrotpatti is very important for Chakravartins and Kshatriyas and Rajakulas. Therefore, he married Kaikeyi. Of course, she is also very described to be very beautiful, and therefore, marrying Kaikeyi is also not away from his dharma, Raja Dharma and Chakravarti Dharma. But there also there was no progeny. After Kaikeyi's marriage also, his wish has not been fulfilled. Therefore, he somebody has advised and did Putrakamishti and has got 4 sons in any case. Therefore, what we shall, Kaikeyi's marriage is not adharma, and giving boons to Kaikeyi is also not adharma, because she protected him in Devasura Sangrama, and in a pleasurable mood, a Kshatriya king can give varas to anybody. And of course, she misused it, is something wrong with Kaikeyi. That's all. But Kaikeyi otherwise is also great character. Don't immediately, though Bharata and Lakshmana and others, even Valmiki doesn't spare any word under the sun to condemn Kaikeyi like anything. In one passage, Vasistha also condemns Kaikeyi. We may come to those passages as and when time permits. But I feel, okay, at the one moment she was a human and she was weak. She has become weak. She has been made weak. That is, I agree. The part she played is condemnable, no doubt, because Rama's entitlement to throne is perfect. He is the eldest son of Dasharatha, Kshatriya Kumara. It is Kshatriya Parampara Dharma. If it is not the case that Dasharatha was willing to give throne to the junior, it is only Jyeshthaputra. Not only Jyeshthaputra, but also Jyeshtha by all virtues. And Vishwamitra has given all his tapasya, all his astra sampatti only to Rama, but none other than Rama. And only that particular Veera, Shura, Parakrami Purusha should be the Chakravarti. So there is no looking back of candidature of Sri Ramachandra, but Kaikeyi has spoiled the game. But otherwise, she was very loving to Sri Rama earlier. And what I wish to add with regard to Kaikeyi, because she is condemned the most, you see, after the turn of events of Bharata going against her, and after returning from Chitrakuta, Kaikeyi became again a great lady at par with Kausalya, Sumitra, and Kaikeyi. It is only momentary. That's Hana episode, that's all. When Bharata condemned her, she realized her mistake and she didn't develop. She is not Rajasic and Tamasic. She acted in a very virtuous behavior later on. She has become full virtuous lady later on. Therefore, a human person by some kind of momentary weakness may commit a sin. Okay, to err is human. But she came back to her grace. This should not go unnoticed. Therefore, Kaikeyi is also a dharmic personality. Lakshmana, Bharata, and Sugriva, Hanuman, and Vibhishana, all of them are great dharmic personalities. We may have some. Then, one thing I want to add, if you travel a path of dharma prescribed for you honestly, sincerely, the help comes from unseen quarters. Even people like me are witness for this statement to some extent, even though I am not that dharmic. Do something very sincerely, honestly, and in a dharmic way with your sattva guna, with your viveka. You will derive help. Where from it comes, God knows. You see, who sent Jatayu? He says Dasharatha's Mitra. Mitra because he is a Pakshiraja and he is in his kingdom, and it is only a kind of friendship between Chakravarti and Samantas. He is a Pakshiraja and he is not even human. Why should he himself sacrifice? And never Rama has asked for his help. Neither his friend Dasharatha asked him to protect Sita. But why? it is dharma. If you travel the dharmic path, Sita was traveling the dharmic path. Therefore, Jatayu, a bird, a non-human person, came to a great rescue and ultimately lost his life. And before leaving his last breath, guided Rama that Ravana took away Sita. Some kind of help he provided to Rama. So otherwise, Rama and Lakshmana are only two humans roaming around in the whole world without direction, without any disha and dasha. Therefore, help comes. Kabandha, help came. He showed the Sugriva. He is a Gandharva Raja. And then the story may be known to you. And the Shabari, she also helped Ramachandra to say Sugriva and all that. And then she is also a very humble lady. Then ultimately, when including Hanuman, everyone was about to die on the banks of Samudra, all of them are Sugriva and all Hanuman and all of them are on the dharmic path. Therefore, Sampati came to and told that Sita is in the Lanka. Sampati is the younger brother of Garutman. So, this is how, it's not story, it is a reality. Provided you travel in the path, that is the takeout. What we learn from Ramayana is this, that if you travel in the path of dharma with sincerity and honesty, the conduct prescribed for you, for your age, for your class, for your ashrama and all that, whatever is prescribed, if you follow that honestly, help comes from unseen quarters. Otherwise, who sent all of these guys? And then Rishis, of course, that is their job. And Garuda. So a help comes from subhuman personalities. Help comes from birds and animals. And help comes from Maharshis like Bharadwaja, Sharabhanga and Agastya. And help comes from divinities like Garutman. Therefore, dharma, this is the dharma we have to follow. What is dharma? Quintessence of dharma is leave your sacrifice your personal comfort for the sake of dharma. This is the quintessence of dharmic path. Yes, while adopting dharmic path, you will be landing in some difficulties, some discomforts. That's why the entire Rama's story is full of difficulties, full of dukkha, full of challenges. He too was weak in moments like you and me. He wept. He was about to curse. He was about to do something unbecoming of his stature. I can show you those passages from the Ramayana. But at the same time, controlled himself. Similarly, we also feel sometimes fall into the prey, but okay, that's not bad, but come out. Control yourself. Come out. These are the lessons we have to learn from Srimad Ramayana. That is samyama, that is self. That is all through Rama was controlling himself. He's all antashatrus, kama, krodha and all that. He has won all of them and stood as a rock structure of dharma, unwavering and all that.
No, sir, we are not at all bored actually. In fact, for me, myself is not bored. Is Ramayana is one
Not
rasa.
you, but
And today we'll take a few questions, sir.
yes.
Yeah. Anybody have? Please raise the hand.
Namaskaram, sir. Thank you so much for this wonderful lecture. Actually, I wanted to ask you was, we know that this Lakshman Rekha, right? So Lakshman Rekha is actually doesn't come up in the Moolam, in the Adi Kavyam, it is not there. In Kamba Ramayanam, it is not there. Somewhere around Tulasidasa's Ramayanam, I think it is there.
Told you, hinted at that there are so many adaptations. Because of adaptations, in adaptation, every poet has got some kind of liberty given to him to add some charm to the story and all that. It's not condemnable. It's allowed actually. Therefore, yeah, in Valmiki there is no Lakshman Rekha and all that. But he says that you take care of yourself. He was hesitating, go. But ultimately it is Sita Mata's fault that he used so many harsh words to him, which are unbearable and unbecoming also of Sita's character. Therefore, he had to leave rather. And the story, what happened, we know. Incidents in the Ramayana, because it is full of Rakshasas and already lot of episodes have taken place. Viradhavada taken place, Kabandhavada, and then Janasthana, Jara, Kharadivadha is also over, and Shurpanakha came and she gave a real threat to kill Sita. Only at that point they have contained him by cutting her nose and ears. Until then she has not been touched by Lakshmana, and she was about to kill Sita. At that point Rama only says that, please Lakshmana, protect Sita, she will soon kill her. This is Rama's word in that context. Having got at that point only they did some Virupata of Shurpanakha. So all this having been witnessed, when Lakshmana was leaving, he put all his tapasshakti in a particular limit and asked her to be safe inside. See, reading too much by Indologists, see, they want to read everywhere some blemish in our Hindu society. They do not know how much of freedom is given to ladies in the households of Hindu Orthodox households. There is no lady, na graham grahamityahu grahani grahamuchyate. These questions and these popular issues are several times elaborately discussed by several people. You have got abundant information, plus and minus both. Kindly consult there. Let us restrict ourselves only to.
Yes, sir.
So I have a question regarding Rama killing Bali from behind. So this is usually a controversial thing. And
Let us come there. Let us come there. We will discuss it. Controversial issues. One is the Tataka Vadha. Second is Vali Vadha. Second is Shurpanakha Virupata. And then Vali Vadha. And then Sita, the kind of words Agni Pravesha and all that. And ultimately Sita Vivasana. Except these 5 places, you don't have any problem in the Ramayana. Okay? All the places, that's why I vehemently told you today, sensing all this, I told you one thing. Whatever Rama did is dharma for us. Hold it. That's all. That is the end of the matter. You see, I tell you, the Vishesha Dharma, Samanya Dharma, or 2 dharmas are there. Both Ramayana and Vishesh, particularly Mahabharata. Mahabharata apparently appears to be totally adharma. Every step appears to be a commoner's mind that it is a wrong step. But if it is a wrong step, why Vyasa Maharshi has written it? To guide us. In that circumstances, that is the right step. Did hiding himself Vali, it's a fact given by Valmiki. He was not one-to-one. Yes, I agree. It is Rama did, it is dharma. That's all. There ends the matter.
And also, in end, Wali himself is agrees and he says that
No. You are entering into discussion.
Yes, sir.
Little minds. No. Little minds also can. And technically, there is an answer which has been provided by Rama himself to Vali. Vali himself asked this question, and then Rama himself replied this. Then what else we want? And today, Vali asked, is it appropriate for a person of your eminence and for a person of your valor to hide yourself and kill me? He asked. And Rama has given a reply. Rama has got jurisdiction and he is not a Kshatriya to call him for a war and kill him and all that. That is the right reply. He is a Shakha Mruga, he can be killed. A Kshatriya Kumara can hunt any people. Hiding also, hunter always hides himself. No problem. It is not the adharma at least. Okay, there is a moral dilemma. So what we are feeling is from our modern mind, strictly speaking, from moral point of view, moral framework appears to be a little unbecoming of Rama. Yes, it is true. It is true. It is a dart, but we can't call it adharma, because anything that is harmful to the larger society, whoever it is, however great he is, he has to be punished. Vali also is a causing harm to the larger society through disturbing the basic principles of decency. I need not elaborate it to you. So he has to be killed. And for his one soul, how many Vanaras are to die? God knows. Once battle starts, where it leads, no one knows. Vali asks, you could have come to me. I could have rescued your wife. I could have brought your wife here itself. I could have ordered Ravana to come over here, give away your wife to you. He told. There is a sentence in Ramayana. Yes, that option Rama knows very well that one more fact, that Vali is just as he entered into a sandhi with Sugriva, Vali also has entered into a sandhi with Ravana, which fact many people do not know. Therefore, he is a Ravana party person. Therefore, he cannot enter with him. See, so many dharmic issues are involved. And then another one dharmic issue is Sugriva and Rama are placed in the similar conditions of life, similar grief and similar weaknesses, similar what you call similarly victimized. You see, exactly one-to-one carbon copy. His wife has been taken away by his, of course, by someone. It is brother in this case of Sugriva. It is someone in the case of Sita. So, wife, they have has been both the wives of both persons have been abducted. So, actually, one-to-one similarity of the conditions, weaknesses are there between Rama and Sugriva. Therefore, what Dharmashastra says is, Samana Vyasananor Maitri. You should have Maitri, you should have friendship only with equivalent only with a person equally placed in difficulties. 200% moral, 200% valid according to all principles of great justice, greater eternal dharma. Having entered into friendship, his enemy, whether he is a right person or wrong person, his enemy is my enemy is his enemy. Therefore, Vali became punishable for Rama. Maybe Vali has not done anything. Yes, he asks him, what harm did I do to you? Sita also gave a lecture to Rama, also the same thing. Persons who have not harmed anything. That is only little mind. Greater mind is, it is Sugriva, you harmed Sugriva means you harmed me, that's all. Because we both entered into a treaty, friendship treaty. Similarly, Ravana is a common enemy for Sugriva also. Otherwise, Sugriva doesn't have any issue with Ravana. Therefore, Rama killed him in hiding. Okay, it could have been wrong, provided he is a Kshatriya Raja. He is only a Vanara Raja.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, because there are so many explanations, it is good to hear from you from the Valmiki context.
No. These actually, I am not authority on these things, but a lot of discussion is there with this, and several. The Valmiki has not mentioned the Vali Vara. Some people who take the rescue under one statement called Wali faces, whoever faces Wali in the battle, half of his strength will transfer to Wali. These stories are in other Ramayanas. In Valmiki, it is not there. Only thing is, cleverly, if you and me are there on the scene, we could have easily get into a treaty with Wali and got our work done easily. Because you and me are smart nowadays. But smartness is not dharmic way. Therefore, Rama chose the dharmic way.
Yes, we are opportunist.
We are smartness, and in today's people like us, how we are dealing with our issues, it is only smartness and the way that is comfortable to me. But I tell you one thing very clearly, Rama never thought of his comfort in doing anything. He thought of only dharma, what is the way I should act. Whatever is the way that is prescribed for action, he has adopted it. That's why Rama has become an icon of humanity.
Ananta,
Haryananta, Harikatha Ananta.
It was good, Guru Garu. Like the pace and explanation.
For the kind of audience, this is all right.
It is all right, Guru.
I'll go to the Vijaya Jayaraman also.
Everything else was wonderful. And I also wanted to one more thing, sir, that there is one section called Prachetaso Ham Dashamah Putraha, and then I am not capable of uttering Anrita. When Rama comes to Valmiki, I would like you to enlighten us maybe tomorrow or something on that part. In the Uttarakanda, when Rama comes to the ashrama, he says,
Uttarakanda.
He introduces, these are your putras, and then I am Chetasas, 10
anyway, I hope at this in this course of lectures, we may not go to Uttara at all. It is no way, not even we can go to up to Yuddhakanda. Let me, if you can put your question to me in writing form through me email, which you can get from Sharmagaru, I will give you reply to you.
I meant from a biographical, who was Valmiki standpoint. It would be nice to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Put your question in email, in writing in email form.
Yes,
I will reply to you.
Yeah, I will take.
But everything, it was a wonderful session. There were so many sukshmas that you enlightened us on. It was.
They are given in the comments. Thank you so much. Okay.
Yeah, Guru Garu, namaskaram. Yeah,
Namaskaram.
Great presentation. No questions at all. It was very nice to hear you. So,
asatya means not lie. Actually, English is a problematic language. See, our Ramayana-like works are not suitable to be discussed in English at all. We discuss it in Indian languages. These are all technical words. Dharma, what shall we do?
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Yeah.
Okay. Good. Actually, I wanted to say that because, there is no meaning in deliberations in English and all that. Everybody should learn Sanskrit, at least to the extent of understanding Ramayana. Okay, the rest Shastras and the Gadabadis, let it be there for scholars. But at least Ramayana and Mahabharata are very simple. Bhagavata may be a little difficult thing, but Ramayana and Mahabharata are easily understandable for simple Sanskrit student with some help of translation. So they must crack Sanskrit first. They are doing so many activities and forgetting the most important one. Once they have that empowerment, no one needs help them anything. They themselves can progress on their own internal understanding and intuition. But Ayodhya Kanda is a masterpiece. Even it is considered to be a literary piece of writing. Even then, it is unimaginable. Unimaginable. And around 5,000 years before, such a caliber of writing a poem is something unbelievable. It is only Brahma, and that's why the story stands valid. It is only on account of Brahma's blessings and Narada's blessings, Valmiki could able to write it. Therefore, it is so great.
Okay, and
Otherwise, it is humanly impossible.
yes, sir. Right.
It's humanly impossible.
Right, sir. I'll request Lalit, please kindly summarize yesterday's section. And then after you, Vijay Jayaramanji also will do it little briefly. And then we will take it to the main topic to the Guruji.
श्रीकामकोटिपीठप्रभवः श्रीचन्द्रशेखरेन्द्र यतीन्द्राः सर्वमतभक्तवन्दितचरणाभ्याः ज्ञानदाश्च विजयन्ते. Namaskaram everyone. So I'll quickly in 2 or 3 minutes summarize what Guru Garu taught yesterday and then we can go forward. So yesterday we got the introduction to Ramayana. So Ramayana is a very interesting text because it is both a kavya and an itihasa. It is not a Purana like Bhagavata. It is a kavya, it's a poetic work. So it has some of those elements, and it is also an itihasa. So it is a historical text as well. So we found a couple of dates that Ramayana was at. There are several postulations based on Rama's horoscope and when the planets were in that alignment. But we do hold that this was a historically accurate document. Ramayana commences with the Valmiki Maharshi asking Narada Maharshi if there is a man, a Nara. So he asks specifically for a human with 16 qualities. So Gunavan, Viryavan, Dharmagnya, Kritagnya, such 16 qualities are asked. And then again, Narada also says, Vakshyamyaham buddha tairyukta shruyatam naraha. So Narada also says, I'm speaking of a man, I'm speaking of a human with the qualities that you have asked for. And then Narada Maharshi too adds a few qualities there to Rama's character. And thus, in the beginning of Ramayana, we have the summary of Rama's character in the beginning. And then we have the famous story that gave rise to poetry in Sanskrit as we know it. So Valmiki Maharshi was going for a bath in the Tamasa Nadi, in the Tamasa River. And there he saw two birds of the Krauncha species. They were they were together, and a hunter killed one of them, and the bird that was left alive was sorrowing over its dead companion. And Valmiki Maharshi saw that and he was moved. So from his shoka, from his grief, came a shloka, a verse. This was the first Paurushavak. So this was the first work in meter that had been composed by a human. So until then, the literature that we had in this meter, in this Anushtup meter, was only in Vedas, which are not written by people. So this was the first time that a person, a human, had voiced their thoughts in a meter. So from there, the verse that was said was Ma Nishada Pratishtham Tvamagama Shashwati Samaha. So Nishada, O hunter, Pratishtham Ma Agamaha. So may you not live for long, is what the shloka says. Then again, there's another meaning where Ma Nishada means Rama, and then Rama, may your fame live forever, is another meaning. But Valmiki Maharshi curses the hunter, saying that you will die early because you have, killed these beautiful birds. And then he goes back to his ashrama and he's sorrowing because he's a rishi. He should have control over his anger, but he let that slip and cursed the birds and cursed the hunter. So then Brahma comes and tells him, Machanda Deva. So due to my will, you spoke in this way. It was not your anger, but this was my will, my blessing that this should happen. So write Ramayana, write the story of Rama that you heard from Narada Maharshi. And whatever you write will be true. So whatever you write will be Satya. And you will not only see the characters, but Rahasyancha Prakashancha. So you'll not only see what the characters do, you'll not only see their actions, but you will also know their thoughts. So this is important because going forward in Ramayana, we can trust that not only the actions of the characters are historical, but their thoughts are also exactly what happened in the story as Valmiki presents it to us. So thus far, we have done yesterday. So up to Pattabhisheka. And the way Ramayana is sung too, so Valmiki Maharshi, after Brahma tells him, composes the entire Ramayana and then teaches it to Kusha and Lava. So Rama's own sons that have been sent to that have been living in the forest. So they come then to Rama's Ashwamedha Yaga, sing it in front of Rama. Rama there himself, Guru Garu pointed out those shlokas yesterday, where Rama himself describes his own story as Mahanubhavam Charitam and Bhutikaram. So this story is auspicious and it is great in nature. So that is the Ramayana, and then Kusha and Lava started singing the story from there. And yeah, from there we can go forward.
Yeah, please. Go ahead.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. The first, I will keep it very short. The first thing he told us was how to approach the Ramayana, that we have to approach it with that Shraddha, that Ramo Vigrahavan Dharmaha. So whatever he did was Dharma. So that should, and we should approach it with from what our tradition says and take that as the primary thing that is of importance. Then the other thing that yesterday he said was Ramayana, how it is very important, not only in as a text of literary text, but also in the performing arts, Shilpa and Sangeeta. It has a wide-ranging impact. And then he also mentioned that Kushilava is the word that is used for actors. And then he talked about how because it is an enacted play, it can be also enacted. He also mentioned how that Adbhuta Rasa or a rasa is a sentiment. And in a play, there are something called sandhis, which are segments of a plot of a play. So in that sandhi, the Nirvahana sandhi is the place where the Adbhuta Rasa is supposed to shine, and the entry of Hanuman in the Sundarakanda and how Hanuman's entry brings us that element and presents it. So that was the other thing that I just wanted to highlight. And with that, everything else Lalit had covered. And
Sharma Garu,
Yeah.
can Lalit recite that poem which Guru Garu was mentioning?
Oh, okay. Lalit, please go ahead.
It's a famous padyam.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sarvamangala guna sampurnudagu ninnu naruni devunigaga narayugata. So these are the boons that supposedly Dasharatha gave Rama for being an obedient son and going to the forest. So Sarvamangala guna sampurnudagu ninnu naruni devunigaga narayugata. So may men look upon you as God. Ramanamamu bhavastoma bhanjana divya tarakanamamaye tanarugata. So may your name, may Ramanama become the means to crossing this samsara. పదికొంపలును లేని పల్లినైనను రామ భజన మందిరముండి వరలుగాత. So this is the part that Guru Garu talked about yesterday. So in a small hamlet that doesn't even have 10 proper houses, even if it is that destitute and out of the way, it will still have a Rama Mandira, a Rama Alaya. Kavulella nee divya kathalellariitula kuniyadi mukti gaikundrugaka. So as she just said, may all artisans, may they talk about your story, present your story and get mukti. Yetti vratayu Sri Rama chuttavadaka vrayapadakundugavuta. So we see this in South India more. Without writing Sri Ram at the top of a paper, they won't start writing on a document. So may nothing be commenced without writing Sri Rama first. Ramavakyamanina tiruganidani arthamagunugata. So may the phrase Ramavakya mean a promise that will be fulfilled for sure. Tiruganidani arthamagunugata ramyagunadhama raghurama ramachandra. So that is the poem that Guru Garu mentioned.
Thank you. Have nice Krishna Jayanti.